Wait a second. Yeah. There's some light, extra lighting.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. If you can hear us, please type llama in the chat. My name is Noelia. I am one of our hosts, and I will be hosting your live demo today. With me, I have Omar Jaramillo, if I said that correctly.
Perfect.
We are so excited to have you today here. Like I said, if you can type llama in the chat, then that lets me know that you can hear us. But before we get started, I just want to remind you to make sure you grab the reference image from the description of this video if you are going to follow along today. If not, sit tight because we have an exciting demo for you. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you know every single time we are going live. And actually, our next live demo is tomorrow, Monday, so stay tuned. We will be answering, oh yay, I see llamas in the chat.
That's good.
We will be answering today as many questions as we can. Remember, this is a demonstration. So some questions I might save for the end for a Q&A. Questions, though, that are relevant to what Omar is doing, I will be asking them then in the moment. And without anything else to add, Omar, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay, good. Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to do this live demo with Etchr. I'm basically a urban sketcher, and I always liked to paint and draw and everything, but it's through urban sketching that I got deep into painting and watercolor and doing portraits. About my style, I didn't know I had a style till people start complimenting about it. I realized that they were just some ways I can cope with my problem zones. Actually, that is what makes my style. In a certain way, I'm a lazy drawer. I want to do the less job as possible. And so I'm kind of minimalistic. I do very few lines. I try to avoid lines because that allows me to be quite fast and avoid problem zones. Mistakes are not easy. I can show you something about my work.
Yes, please.
This is my sketchbook from my travels to Zanzibar. And
I will spot that for you so that we can all see.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Okay. So I went to Zanzibar and I do a lot of portraits when I was doing there. I'll show you, for example, that one. These all were done on site, while meeting people. Here's two guys on the market. This is very fast drawings. The idea is just to catch a moment. For a good portrait, it's better to try to catch a personality rather than the trying to find resemblance. This is kind of the way I paint. Very few lines that I can avoid. It's not necessary, and the color and the lines into different planes. It's just not the color is not constrained by the line. Some people on the market like to draw live a lot. Some silhouettes, catching the spines. Let me see if I find a portrait here. If I'm regressing that, for example, it's just a scene from the people walking on the street. More about this I will show you in my workshop with Etchr, is how to draw people different situations, like people moving, people portraits when you're close up, and different ways. This, for example, was on the street. I catch different people drawing. The people are, some of the drawings are based on more than one person. Another story. Zanzibar, Stones Town is a very beautiful place. And here also traveling with the with the bajaji, tuk-tuk to call people, or like somebody eating. Or I love this painting. It's like generations. They got like old Maasai woman and maybe her granddaughter, like a way they look very similar, but you start the clothes in different ways. Perfect.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And now that you've mentioned your mini workshop, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to that in our chat. So if you want to sign up, you can go ahead and do so now. And I will also be dropping the link to our feedback survey so that when you get a chance, you can do that. And by the way, there's already questions in the chat. Andrea Nunez wants to know, what's your Instagram handle?
Oh, so Omar, I think it's at Omar Paint. I should have thought about
That's
Omar.
okay. I'll double check and put it on in the chat.
Yeah, it's Omar Paint. You find me under at Omar Paint. I don't know if there is a dot in the middle between Omar and Paint, but it's Omar Paint.
I'll double check in a little bit and let you all know.
Yes.
And Teresa Pittman says, wow, that sketchbook is inspiring. So with that in mind, should we get started?
Oh yeah, we can start. Usually, as I say, I paint on site. I draw people that are moving constantly. I don't ask people to pose. In some cases, I also ask to do some painting based on pictures. If that's the case, you have always ask for more than one picture. Never do one portrait just based on one picture, because everybody will send you the best picture, the one they don't look like. So try to work by. I have this photo from a friend of mine, and I'm gonna use because of the expression. One tip also is you're gonna do based on a photo, make a black and white copy. That way you will be more easier to see the shadows. And this is the first part that we have to see. We are going to try to find the shape of the shadows. You see here under the eyebrow, there's some shadows in a certain shape. We have some shadow here under the nose, and here also under the cheeks. There's some, always the upper lip is in shadow if the light comes from above, and under the underlip there's some shadow, and of course the beard and the area below the chin. So the chin, we're gonna. So I always start in this case with let's start with the mess. Put it away. It's always good to start with a mess, because that way you were not. It's better. It's good if you do something sketchy. I mean, like that looks fresh and simple. You try to do copy or make a photograph, something hyper realistic, you will fail. You're not better than a machine, so you will fail. So try to show you a different way. I'm using now cerulean blue. This is one of my favorite colors. In German, cerulean blue is like sky blue at the end. So Himmelsblau. So if you want a reference, this is very good for shadows. You can add a little of alizarin crimson if you want, like have a violet tone. And from then we start. I'm just going to start with the eyes. The eyes, you say that the eyes are the window of the, and I will try to copy the shape. Also, gravity is always your best friend, so try to get some angle on the page. And I just pick one shadow here, and then we have the other shadow here. Don't worry if the color is a little dark, because in this case, you have to start looking at the shapes. For example, the nose will be around here. It's just like this, not necessary. Maybe a little water, so that's. Then we have the upper lip, and then the area below. And then we have the chin. And then we have some space here. I need more water than this little shape. And then we have this area here. Here is, you see, there's very strong shadow here. And there's kind of like a triangle shape. I will go to water and go like this. And then go like this. So here's mistakes. What are the mistakes? It's on paper. Very nice, like paper towel.
Okay. And while Omar grabs his paper towel, I'm gonna go ahead and drop our feedback survey. Paper towels are your best friend, I bet.
Yeah, but also mistakes. See, there is some drops. So if you got that problem, actually the best thing is to do more drops. So like just do a little more drops, and we have here, because it has to look sketchy, spontaneously. I will do also very light the hair, the hairline, and there is also the ears. The ears, as you know, is around this height of the eyebrows. Just do the shadow. I don't do everything. Just do the shadow, and that's it. We got the first element of the drawing. I can see this is a little more that way, and here is a little more that way. Perfect. As I say, then we try to mix different colors. There is darker here. This is this around here. With that. So in theory, you have to dry. I can start doing working like an eraser. I took a brush with just with water, a little dry, because what we need now is to start using as a rubber. I'm gonna try to get the eye lines here, and for that I just gonna use this and dry, use this, dry, and use this and dry, so we can get the white from the eyes. They call white, the eyes call white, but it's never white really. It's all, they're mostly the whole time are in shadow. So never leave it white. It would be a very light gray in the best case scenario. So I take it, always dry, take it, always dry, and take it, always dry. And as you see that you have some kind of face. And let's start with other colors, because it's just not red. I will use like the pink, alizarin crimson, with some aureolin yellow, and start mixing it. So I got a vibrant color, and I'll start putting the color skin coming here. It's good that the colors mix. There's a possibility the colors mix. I will work here, the ears. Can start different colors here, here. The overlips, you can have some color, something like this. And probably this area is also color.
So how are you choosing where to add that color? Because the blue was the shadow.
It's always about shadows. I mean, you see this area is a little darker. Sometimes it's just spontaneous. I mean, as I say, it's good that you take some colors like this, so that there is some mix. In this area, better if I put some yellow maybe. So I got some, so if we just kind of like get the area, try to put warm colors in the areas that you see light, and cold colors, the areas you see are in shadow. That's for example, mostly I use the blue for the cold colors, and I'm using here is a little white. So, yeah. So that's basically the first part. These points have to dry, so I can answer some questions right now if you want.
Sure.
Good.
Sarah Bradley asks, was your Zanzibar sketchbook made with thick cartridge paper? It didn't look like watercolor paper.
Well, basically, this is Stillman and Byrne sketchbook. They got a series of sketchbooks. This one is the Alpha. This is 150 grams. The paper is quite special. This is double. I don't know how you say in English. In German, it's lime. I mean, there's a coat, double coating. There's a double coating from one side to other side. So if you have here, I can paint in both sides of the painting. It's not watercolor paper, but these are simple. Maybe there is a side where I work both sides. Maybe see. Yeah, well, basically, yeah. Here, for example, you can work in both sides. It's just you have to have a good sketchbook. I like these ones because they got a lot. It's cheaper than the watercolor sketchbook, and I can obtain similar results. For a travel sketchbook, you don't need to use watercolor paper because most of the time you have to work very fast.
Mm. So why are you doing that?
I'm just shaking it so that there is some kind of mistakes or casualty happens. I want to have that casual element in the painting.
Okay, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Do you use the same procedure for sketching in your book as if you sketch in location, or do you take a picture and paint later? Teresa asks.
Yes, if I'm working, for example, I'm going to show you a drawing here. This will be explanatory. If I'm doing buildings and there is strong shadows, I will paint the shadows first. Here is a painting of this building. This building is only shadows. I didn't draw the building. I just draw the shadows that were projecting on the film. It's just the white of the paper of the page, and then the sky. And through that, I got the building. So this is one idea. The other idea, as I say, is to start with the chaos. And that was also this case where I create first random stains on the paper, and then I paint over it. So yeah, I use it, but I also go the other way. It's just, there are no rules. Sketchbook is your playground. You do whatever you want. Try to test different things. Yeah, so maybe I got. Yeah. So you see that it's getting dry. You see also the eyes are also kind of dry, darker. At this point, you should start working with the dark colors or the lines, and then you can either work with a pigment. This is water resistant. I usually use sepia or black. I prefer the sepia because it's kind of like a middle tone, and I use just the black for at the end to get the dark tones.
Okay.
And so I will see still wet. Maybe use a pencil so that not otherwise it's going to be. Oh, let's do that. So let's try with the tip pen. So I start with the first this one. I will start with the nose. I will do the lines now. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna do this.
What kind of pen is that? Is it a felt tip?
Yeah, this is a Faber-Castell Peak pen. It's a water pen. I mean, right now you can paint over with watercolor with water, so it's water resistant. That's what I use. So where are the lines in the face? There is no lines on the right side or left side. You have sometimes there's a little line, but usually this part there's no line. There is some line in the holes of the person. Of course, here you should also be able to correct. Sometimes there are mistakes when the drawing, so you can correct. I will do just a line. And then sometimes I do here a line, it's not necessary. Then we go for the eyes. Here, from here, there's I already kind of defined the eye. And I got here this, and there's just try to draw the lines. Don't draw anything that is not a line. And then we have also here, and here start the eye. And then we have that, and then we have this, and then we have this. Okay. Then this dot, and this. Perfect. Yeah. And then we go, what we can draw here. We have some, this should be a line. We have wait till it gets dry. We got the ear, goes there. Okay. Okay. And here's color line. You can also use the other side of the brush, paint. You can make some, feel some pressure and the color will get there. Sometimes you do that, but it's already.
It'll create like a dent in the paper.
Yeah, dent and the color will go there. So we have to wait a few seconds that it gets dry. Can I start using some color? Yeah, I continue with the pen. Just a little, still here comes that. Here's here, so here's here, like rain, sweat, and here's some hair. Here, you said lines don't necessarily follow the color, or they're not constrained the color. You can make corrections, and you should make corrections. Better than color and line have different lanes. Okay, and then for here. And here, this part. And like this. So basically we have that, and then now we start working on the shadows, the dark tones, mid-tones. Here's the thing. So I will work on the eyes, try to create the color of the eyes. I don't remember which color his eyes were. I think we're green. I know, it's good. Paint the color, leave some light there. Always in the eyes. I use some green also for the hair. In a funny way, I don't know why, but blonde people, if you want to get the blonde color, you use blue green. I don't know why. It's not that hair is green, but it just feels good.
What kind of green are you using?
Viridian green. I keep missing my colors all the time, so it's kind of difficult. Now we have to try a little more expression. I will work with this using crimson and a little darker blue to create some purple. And I don't have black in my case. I only have a very dark Van Dyke brown, fresh front tube, and then I mix with blue colors or red colors or blue colors. So I will have different kinds of blacks. They're richer and intense. So I don't have blacks. I recommend you to create your own blacks mixing. The reason I use a fresh tube is because the way you can add less water. And with less water, it won't be great. Otherwise you just have a gray. So here comes the layer.
And how wet is your paper right now?
How wet? This is a 300-gram paper. It's quite dry already. So there are some areas that are still wet, but it's quite dry.
Okay,
So
thank you.
It's very hot here right now in Berlin. So we have that.
That makes a difference too, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you paint watercolor, it's always better to paint in a warmer weather to see the painting. I think angle. Let's see. Yeah, there's something here in the hair. Should be actually this line should be here. Wait. Here we gotta have that.
So you're adding the purple to where you have darker shadows?
Exactly, but I want color. I want to paint with color. I want an expressive painting. I don't want to try to reproduce person. Need to do my sprays. So then I'll go with. I also got this. Is very practical. The way you can clean your brush.
Oh, wait. Let me spotlight your other camera so that I can show.
This is for tennis. This is a tennis wristband. I don't know.
And that's where you wipe off your brush?
Yeah, so that you don't need to have colored paper with you, because usually you use a piece of cloth, and the way you don't.
That's a nifty trick.
Yeah, practical.
Yeah.
I learned from a good friend of mine from Australia. And then nose.
So right now you're softening up the edges?
Yeah, I like to have different layers. I don't want to have just one layer of color. I need to have different layers, so I just applying different colors and different size. Here it should be that. And let's just take it out. And then we have maybe also a little darker here. But it's not, but it's just to create some dialogue. There's something they call like color bridges. So you have to have the same color in different areas of your painting. Don't just put in one area. Just try to create some kind of your eye will jump from one color to the other.
Okay.
So then we spray some dots. And now you can go with the other color and start working areas here. Now we're gonna do the beard. The beards men usually have this kind of shadow of the beard. So I'm just gonna work with the blue also. Grade it. And then we have it. And then we have here. And then we have that. Let's do that. And here. And here. Okay, perfect. And from that point, I just won't do more color, and I just gonna work with the pen. But I have to wait to dry. So, any questions while drying, Salil?
Yeah, let's have some questions. So if you have questions, type them in the chat. But I will ask you one now. How long have you been painting for?
Oh, long. I mean, I started painting when I was a kid. I start with watercolors when I was 18 years old, and I hated it because I got the bad materials. I have bad paper, bad brushes, and bad pigments. And it's very important that you use good brushes and good paper and good colors, good watercolors, because in a funny way, watercolor is the quality of your work is extremely related to the quality of the materials you're using. So it's better to use good materials if you want to have a good result.
Okay.
With good colors, your colors will shine. The paper won't. Wood paper won't wave. a good brush would allow you to do very thin lines, very thick lines, good washes. So that's the beauty of it. And then I started painting again when I moved to Germany, because I was trying to discover this new world. This, for me, it was different, exotic even. So I started painting my surroundings, first in sketchbooks and then later in bigger watercolors. Yeah.
And when did you start doing urban sketching?
2009, I think, was when I discovered urban sketching. I was living in Italy, and I found a group on a really good blog called it's called Line and Color. It's a great blog, still going on. And in this blog, they were talking about, usually about different artists, but they were talking about urban sketchers. And so I look at this page and I find it was happy, because I'm not crazy. I'm not the only guy who's drawing around with a sketchbook. So yeah, so I was happy to find my tribe.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Teresa asks, what's your favorite kind of paper?
I don't have special kind of paper. Usually I don't use any paper. For watercolor, I don't use any paper below 300 grams.
Okay.
That's rule. And then I got, as I say, this sketchbook from Stillman and Byrne. They got wonderful different sketches kind of paper. But there are other companies that they use also the same paper. I mean, they're using this 150 grams. You just have to look for multimedia paper. Just look for mixed media paper, 150 grams, and then you will be in a good spot.
Okay.
So I think your sketchbook is also for mixed media, isn't it?
Yes, our Etchr sketchbooks are mixed media. The Perfect sketchbook is more specifically for watercolor, but will also hold other mediums too.
Yeah, I know the Perfect sketchbook. I met the guy in Singapore, the guy who designed that.
Yes.
Really good. It's really good. Really good quality. And as I say, mixed media, just go for mixed media. Mixed media is what you need. That's allows you to do different things, you know, like sometimes you want to do watercolor, sometimes you want to do ink, sometimes you want to do drawing. I mean, some watercolor paper is not so good for drawing. So start working. What we have here, I got really nice tools. I got also whites. I usually use a white pen. I buy a new one. This is good, and I get to use the whites, for example, in the eyes, but when they're dry.
And before you start doing that, could you pick up your sketchbook and get it closer to the camera a bit so that we can see the detail in the eyes?
Oh, you mean this here?
Yeah, and pick it up, move it a little towards your right. Yeah, and if you could stop there, that way.
I just put a white. For example, I use just a marker, a white marker, to create that that lights.
Awesome.
There's also a trick. This is Signal from Uniball. That's quite good. Then I also will have some whites here on the hair. He's not the only one. And there's some whites here. This is too wet. You can also scratch, but depending on the paper, will get better or worse. So prefer just to do with white. Sometimes it's good. So, and we can create also some structures also on the surface, like cross hatching, for example. Go here. This area is dark, and it's gonna do some shadow. and it started becoming more interesting. And here, so you start working with lines. Try to be to regular lines. That there's some. In this case, I'm looking for certain kind of geometry. People see the lines as well as composing element. That there's some intention in the direction of the line. You know.
So are you following kind of the planes of the face?
Yeah, for example, so it says, for example, here, there's this shape. There's some markers I have to use it. This is so I can, for example, with yellow markers, start working this way. Right. And then the magic starts. So here is also a shadow. And then start like this. And then we have here. It's interesting to have different layers of color. Here, because the shadow can get a little higher. And we have, here's this.
So Doris is asking in the chat, are the pens different colors? They don't look like they're black.
No, this is different colors. Yes, this is from Derwent Graphic. It's quite cool. This is different colors. Now I'm using some color and creating some, as I say, you can use just with black, but I like to have colorful drawings. So I just adding different colors and cross hatching.
And before you picked up these, the pens that are on your table, are those all black?
No, as I say, one was black. I got the sepia from Pittpen, eventually, excuse me, the black from Pittpen. And I also have the sepia from Pittpen. As I say, the drawing mostly I do with the sepia, and I do the dark tones with the black.
Okay, thank you.
Because the sepia is it's a middle tone. It's not like so dark in the bark. So here, but I can also use some black. For example, here needs some black. Here's some black. Some purple here. So let me see. I have to stand to take a look. I need some distance. Wherever you're doing a portrait, it's also a good idea to just switch it backwards.
Let me spotlight you.
To have resembles, you just look at backwards and try to find if there is some resemblance.
Oh, look at it upside down.
Or you put it on a mirror and try to look the mirror, and you can detect their mistakes or problems. That's very useful. Mostly, as I say, I would like to work with the white. And since the guy got white, I will work with the whites here in the hair. So on here, there's some lines.
So are you adding highlights?
Yes, highlight. Well, basically, it's not that he had highlights, but yeah, some highlights. also white hair. But wherever you get a dark, there's always some light, so it's good to create some contrast. Okay, and there's some light here, but it's already there. There is some light here. And it goes here. Here is good here. And here's some lights. Yeah, so it's kind of, I think I'm quite happy. You can always work more just creating more shadows. It's always good to you let your painting breathe. I mean, and then go back next day and look again and see how it feels. You know, that it's finished or not. Here's some light. Yeah, and here's some light. And of course the lips. There's some lights here always. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So and then you can use other colors. Basically, when you draw a portrait, try to use always yellow, red, and blue. Because basically you get all the colors
by allowing them to
mix. Yeah. In this case, now they're working with the pens. What I'm doing is cross hatching, overlapping different colors. So it also creates some mix in some way. And there's a point where your painting start telling what to do. You know, here should be darker. Maybe some blue.
So how are you deciding when to switch to a different marker?
Right now, I'm just feeling, but you always have to try to create bridges in your color bridges. I use this color here. I try to put it on the other side in order to balance the color, you know, so because your eye will jump from the same color. He find a color and then will look for the same color in the painting and will jump to this point. And you get a pleasant feeling if your eye goes all around the face or the image. I mean, so as I say, it's very spontaneously, but I try to follow that rule.
So would you say that you pick a color because you feel like the painting needs it, but then you make sure you add it into different areas?
I mean, you don't need to put a lot of color. I mean, one of the things I do at the end, that's also one of the tricks, I will add some red. And I usually, the red, I will use it always in the same spot. One is here, one is here, a little here. As I say, it doesn't have to be a big splash of color. It's a dot. A dot is enough. Also here, here, then one here.
In the corner of the eyes?
Exactly, and then under the ears, and here, even though there's nothing there. So I need also some darker here for the. So I think I'm happy with it. So perfect.
Wow. Could you hold it up a little closer to the camera?
Like this? Oh,
yeah, a little bit towards you. Perfect. A little bit to the right. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Wow.
There is a resemblance. Of course, it's not. You're not trying to copy a photograph. I mean, you don't need to copy a photograph.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a spontaneous drawing you can do, people. I mean, as I say, most of the time you do on site, and then you can play around. It's better if it's sketchy, stay sketchy. As I say, if there's a drop, you throw more drops. It's always good because people will appreciate that. I mean, if you try to copy a photo and try to be too realistic, people will see your mistakes. If you stay sketchy, well, they say it's a sketch, it's sketchy, it's the style. People will appreciate that.
That's a great way of thinking about it. I think it also takes away the nerves of doing a portrait, you know?
Exactly. And people don't have expectations. That's also good. I mean, if you do crazy, sketchy drawings, people will love that. I mean, they don't have the expectation have to be a picture. They will love to have a picture on your style.
That's a great point too. Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you mind if I ask you some questions that I compiled from the chat?
No, you're welcome.
So Porcupine Pancake Art asks, are portraits your favorite subject matter to draw?
Yes, that's true. Portraits is my favorite subject. I mostly like to draw people that are not posing. I like to draw people in when they're relaxed and not thinking about posing. So that's the best thing, to be able to catch somebody unaware that you're drawing them.
Fair. Another question. Now that more people have joined us, could you repeat for us, what are you planning to paint in your mini workshop?
Well, I will paint 3 different things. First of all, there is portrait, how to paint a portrait, like a close-up. Second, we are going to do people on the move, I call, drawing people on the streets, add people to your paintings that have some kind of attitude, personality, you know. There's our kind of tiny people, and and also work with people on a perspective when drawing, and to understand which size should have, and having some tricks in order to remember the perspective or to help you with the perspective.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So I just dropped the link to Omar's mini workshop in our chat. So make sure you grab your seat because there is limited seating, and it'll be happening in July. So in almost a month. I have another question for you. Minnie asks, who is your role model in the field of watercolor?
Oh, there are many.
Can you name a few?
God, I'm Alvaro Castañet, of course. I really like Felix Scheinberger also. I like his more sketching and painting watercolor. But watercolor artists, of course, Alvaro Castañet and Subic and there's a guy in Malaysia that I really like, KKK. Also, this is also very good. Yeah.
Thank you. Andrea Nunez asks, do you have favorite resources like books, websites, maybe mentors?
Oh, yeah. The first book is, I don't remember the names. Maybe next time I will have a list, will be nice. But the first book is Drawing with the Right Side of the Brain. I learned to draw portraits with that book. And actually, if you use that method, you can draw everything. There's nothing you cannot draw, because then you start just seeing lines and shapes, and you don't see eyes or nose, or no, you just see shapes and lines, and from that it's easy. Then from watercolor, there's a beautiful book. I don't remember the author, but it's called Make Your Colors Sing, something like that, like singing. Make your color. I don't remember the author. I will have a list next time.
Okay, so that means if you want to know more, make sure you sign up for Omar's mini workshop. Another another question for you. Sarah Bradley asks, your example is quite a large portrait size. For smaller sketchbooks, is it a matter of just using smaller size brushes to create the same kind of images?
That's a good question. Yes and no. I mean, I will use, for example, this brush is the one I use for a portrait on my sketchbook. For this painting, I'm using this, and it could be a little bigger actually. But for Sketchbook, I will use 2 brushes, something like this and something like that. So
I'm guessing
something like this at least, because it has to be able to hold water. A good brush is like a pen. The water is there, the pigment is there, and you can do very thin lines with it. Yeah. But something like this is this right side for Sketchbook.
So I'm guessing that's a round brush, about a 10 or 12 size.
Yeah, something like this. What you don't use is like flat. Wait a second. Brushes like this, unless you want to. They don't hold water. You can use that if you want to make some marks on your work, but not for painting watercolor.
Okay. And Kathy actually just commented in the chat, is the book called Make Your Colors Sing by Jane Dobe?
Yes. That's my favorite book.
Ta-da! And another viewer in our chat just said that drawing on the right side of the brain was a major influence on them as well. It got them started when they were too insecure otherwise. So nice. Thanks for sharing that. And last question for you today. Minnie asks, is there any problem using negative painting in portrait painting?
No, actually, I use it a lot. My the image on the preview of this talk was done only with negative space. I use more for posture. If I'm drawing a person, whole body from head to toe, you get more opportunity to use negative space. That's for true, and it makes it easier also to draw a figure. For face, not so much. There's not so many elements, except trying to look the shapes of the shadows. But otherwise.
Okay. Thank you for sharing all that. And thank you for painting for us today and teaching us your tips and tricks. It was so fun. It was amazing to watch it all come together. I know a lot of people had fun. They were very impressed with you. So thank you. And thank you all llamas for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's been a really nice activity.
Yeah. So I will be dropping the feedback survey link in our chat so that you can let us know how you liked this specific demo, and so that we can continue to bring you content that you enjoy. Don't forget to sign up for Omar's mini workshop if you want to learn more from him and how to make portraits. And with that being said, I guess we'll see you all in the next demo and for Omar's mini workshop.
We'll be happy to see some of the people again there. I mean, it would be great.
Yeah. Oh, and if you followed along, make sure you tag us with Etchr Studio and Etchr. Use the hashtag Etchr Mini Workshop so that we can find your work on social media. Yeah.
Great. I would love to see what the people are doing.
Yeah, and now you have Omar's Instagram handle. I'll drop it in the chat once again.
That's good.
Omar_paint. There you go.
Perfect.
See you all next time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.